Right, another one. Look at it. You see, I literally write them and then I scratch them. Crossing the line. Huh. This this was inspired when somebody opened up to me about the way they interact with their child. So so hear me out. Somebody basically has children. I don't, and they were upset and they were kind of like frustrated because they love their child, but like it's not overwhelming more than it is they're taking the brunt of the whole parenting thing. And I say there, it's a woman, it's one woman. So I remember we're having the conversation, and I looked at her and I was like, "Why don't you just hold the person accountable?" And she goes like, "How?" And I go like, "No, if he's going to be a dick, then just don't give him the affection that he wants. And if he basically keeps being a dick, then create boundaries and space, and like let him actually like understand the consequences of not really respecting your expecting your reasoning, expecting your like thought process, your personality, your authority, all these things, not really expecting that." This is Smurfette, by the way. Alright? She kind of wants attention the only way she wants it. She wants it the way she wants it, not the way I want to give it to her. But so what happened was I kind of like gave a very much objective piece of advice on how I would handle certain situations. And when I opened my mouth about these things, the first thing that comes to me was, what if these people actually use it? And I've been in places in my life where I actually was, sorry, it's just electricity went off. So I've been in places in my life where, when I say places, I mean situations in my life, where people actually like to, responded to my advice. They were okay with it. A couple of days later, they changed their mind. And then naturally, because now their frustration from what they wanted advice for was not dealt with, in order for them to kind of like handle that frustration, they go back to me and they kind of like dump shit on me, or basically just I become the target of their frustration. I don't want to say venting, like, when you give advice to somebody and then they come blame you for something wrong that didn't happen. And it's happened a lot to me for some fucking reason. I tend to have an opinion about a lot of things. Okay, all right, that makes sense a bit. But anyways, uh, as of recent, I've been about a lot more tentative, which I don't think is a good thing. But I think like a big part of me, and I actually like on Sunday, like 4 days ago, I went for a lot of voice notes that expressed feelings where logic failed me, where my logic made sense, but my feelings were not kind of like convinced or keeping up. I think I love that about like humanity, because like we have to on a deeper level always kind of like understand why we're coming up with these words to explain certain things, and we have to kind of like sort out our existence and harmonize within ourselves. And the best way to do that is for words to kind of reach you, and then for your emotions to kind of surface. It's funny because like words have to reach deeper in order for them to make sense, and emotions have to come out in order for them to make sense. Huh, that's something actually cute to talk about. Yay! Words to reach deeper, emotions to surface, for life to make sense. So I'll probably write about this in the creative video at one point. Why the fuck no? But so anyway, so I was talking to her and I kind of was very much aggressively opinionated. It was beautiful, simply because what I said made sense, and she was like completely agreeing with me. And later on at night, when I was like doing something random, I was like, what if I crossed the line? Because what if she was trying to like, she was just trying to vent out. She was hoping she would be able to like open up about something, and I kind of like over dominated the situation. And as a friend or as a person that I actually cared about, I looked at how I could have basically become an influence where maybe I had no place being one. And that's the opinionated part of me. Uh, fuck me, dude. All right. That's the opinionated part of me. And every single thing that I tried to do afterwards was more reason with myself in order to understand what are the things that I shouldn't have like interfered in. But overall, how do we know when we cross the line? How do we know when we actually like when it's not our place? How do we know when it's not? How do we know when we need to like shut the fuck up? And so I wrote it down, like crossing the line. Like when do we know that we crossed the line? And if we do the best way, how would it best way to interact with it? So what happened, I remember that day was I tripped on it for like 20, 30 minutes. And then after that, I basically sat with myself and I was like, okay, so you'll talk to her tomorrow and explain this is what's going on. And I was like, fuck yeah, perfect. That's what happened. And I calmed down. But the next day she was like, no, it's fine, this and that. And basically she was very much beautiful as a woman that actually owns up to her shit. Like if she had decided to like follow whatever it is I talked to her about, then it's her responsibility, which is amazing because I don't see a lot of people do that. A lot of people are quicker to blame others instead of like looking at themselves and kind of like saying that I am this and I am that, whatever. And most of the time, these people kind of like regard their surroundings a lot deeper, and that's why they're more appreciative, and that's where they're more like that's why they're awesome. That's why you'd want them in your life. That's why you want friends like that in your life. You want people that are like kind of like using their mind to think about different things. And so, as I talked to her about it and I explained how I was feeling, she explained a few things that kind of like set me up, and that was like fun because she explained a few things that set me up to actually respond. And a big part of why she wanted to talk to me about it is because she kind of wanted this like extreme side of me that has no clue, but is very much opinionated and objectively looks at everything because, like, I really don't have that many things that I care about, or not that many people in my life that I actually care about. I'm limited to small amounts of family, and choosing my friends is something that I love, like being a part of, and it kind of like scares me a bit. It's like a whole lot of insecurities about not being enough and all that good stuff. But on the positive side, every once in a while you get like some random person that is truly looking at you as, I don't want to say a friend, but is truly looking at you and appreciating that your difference is literally the one thing that contributes to whatever it is they are doing, whatever it is they are like trying to process and get over it. And so you kind of like fit that spot beautifully, and you kind of give them that extension where anytime they're feeling that they're themselves, that whatever is themselves is kind of like becoming too much or too little, that they extend to something that they trust or they relate to something that they actually could like engage with and understand without having to go to an extreme on their own. They could like find that balance within the people that surround them and overall just beautifully transition to the new stage that they're in. I think that's the power of like people in general and being able to self-actualize through people. And if not for these anxieties, we don't get to like, I want to say, again, like I'm calling them anxieties because that's literally how they are. But if not for these kind of like things that cross your mind, you don't really question what's coming out of your mouth because when you're talking, you're talking. And when you're engaging with people, you're engaging with people. So most of the time, you're just like sitting there trying to like understand where you're coming from and why, and how you're actually projecting yourself. And that allows for a certain reflective effort because you got to see what's coming out in order for you to reflect on what should come out the next time. And even though most of the times we're just only stuck in our heads, but once we resolve this within ourselves, once we like discuss this within ourselves, like mentally, emotionally, physically, or once we actually go with friends, it's easier because you talk to them and they say no. So like, or they tell you whatever they tell you, you kind of have an actual answer without you having to consider one. And once you resolve it with yourself, you kind of like decided on an answer or an ending, and then you move on from there until it proves any other way. But like, as far as you're concerned, as long as something is not lingering, resolved, then your mind is able to settle and take a step forward from there. And so, whether you cross the line or not really doesn't matter as long as you understand the effects of the reason why you're thinking that way and the effect of whatever actually happened. And from there, whether it's a positive or a negative really doesn't matter because ultimately, if you cross the line with a decent person, then they would understand. If you cross the line with not so decent a person, and they won't, and then either way you kind of win. I would say with with more with a more pragmatical approach, we could actually like test our limits and naturally test our limits for always because we want more for the relationship that we have instead of we want more selfishly. Hey,